One mistake I see dog owners doing is that they don't give their dogs enough time to think. They want to rush into commands, they want to rush in getting their dog to do things, but they don't allow them to think on their own. So here you can see I'm trying to get Sam onto the little mini bed here, whatever you want to call it. He was kind of like half on, half off, not exactly what I wanted, so I didn't mark and reward it. And now he's kind of going through his list of tricks. Can I spin to get the reward? Can I look at you in the eyes to get the reward? Things that he's definitely been rewarded for in the past. But the bottom line is I'm allowing him to think. And really, this is what's called shaping. And shaping is just, instead of using a treat to lure them into a position, you're almost building them up piece by piece. So I could have rewarded when he was half on, half off, and then the next time rewarded if he had his front two paws on and was getting closer, and then fully marked when he was on the bed. But shaping is kind of piecing together what behavior, what act you want him to do. In this case, especially because Sam's so small, I just keep pointing to the bed. I'm just going to say, hey, I'm just going to let him figure it out. And he did. So I pointed to the bed finally, and he got all four paws on. So I marked and rewarded it. And you'll see as we go throughout the video, he starts to pick it up really quick. I point to the bed, you go on it, I mark it and reward it. And the beauty about all of this is I didn't say any commands. I'm just pointing, I'm giving him guidance. If I wasn't pointing, I could take a treat and lure him onto that, but I would try to get rid of that as soon as possible. Or if it was a bigger dog, you could put him on a leash and just guide him to the bed or guide him to the pad. So this is really a mini version on how you can get your dog accustomed to a place bed. And the place command is one of the best things you can do for your dog when used properly. But this is a great way to just build that positive association with something, whether it's a bed or anything. Just get them to touch it, go on top of it, and then also figure it out on the way by allowing them to shape the behavior as opposed to just luring them up there. The other aspect in all this is you have to remove the guidance as you go, which really makes it harder and harder for the dog. If you were doing lure training, you definitely want to remove that lure as soon as you can, because that's going to make it harder for the dog. Also increasing things like distance, distractions, duration, we often call those the 3Ds. That's a big thing for your dog, but you constantly want to challenge them. So in this case, I'm just going to try to not point as much and see what he does. He doesn't really get the picture. He tries to spin, he tries to sit, but that's okay. I'm not using any words. The problem is when you start to use words like a place command or a certain other command, if they don't do it, then you're just devaluing the word. So you really want to get the position right. You really want to get the movement right first. See right there, he offers me a sit. I'm like, no, that's not what I want right now. But then I'm like, you know what? We can mark a sit because that is a behavior that I do like. He's still giving me good engagement. It all comes down to the goal and what you want to do with your training session. So here I'm like, he's not really getting the picture of going back to the pad. We'll have to pick that up another day. I'm just going to mix in some sits. And then I think I go back to giving him some more guidance here. Just to try to get on the pad again, just to kind of bring that in. But that does bring up another point too, is, another way to make things harder is increase the number of commands and the number of positions that you want your dog to do in a certain session. It just kind of depends. Usually in this case, since we are shaping, I'm just going to focus on one. But since, he wasn't really getting the picture without the point, I was like, mix it up a little bit. And then I can always do a bunch of places one time. I can do a bunch of sits one time. And then once he does know that word, know both of the words, I can play him off each other. Have him sit, have him place, have him sit, have him place. And that's how you also get off the food. Everybody always wants to know is like, how do I give my dog less food in food training? Well, when you increase things like duration, you increase the number of commands that they have to do. Instead of giving them a treat every, I'm just making up a number, every 10 seconds, you're giving them a treat every 20 seconds, then 30 seconds. Depending on the duration and how many commands you're having them do. So definitely shape with your dogs, especially at the beginning until you really got the positions and the engagement down.